What's up, everybody? Ben Rasa and Matt Gajewski here for Awesemo.com, and we are back with Week 6 college football betting picks, breaking down all the big games and finding the best value on the slate. Before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to BetMGM. If you have not been over there, sign up using the description in this video. If you are a new user and you deposit $10 or more and make a bet, you're going to be eligible for a risk-free bet of up to $1,000, and you're going to get 3 free months of Awesemo Plus that's going to cover you on the DFS side, the betting side, and the fantasy football side. A great opportunity to take advantage. All right, Matt, we've got a ton of games on this slate, big conference play. I know you've broken down the games. Where is your favorite betting spot to attack?
I'm going to stick with the familiar one we've been hitting with a lot of success to start the year, and that's Kentucky. And we're going to be taking them against a team that we haven't had as much success with, LSU. I think I'm 2-2 against the spread betting LSU this year. But Kentucky's been phenomenal. Obviously, they have the undefeated start. They knock off a key opponent last week in their most difficult game of the year and not only cover the spread, but went outright against Florida. Kentucky holds a number of advantages over this LSU team. First of all, LSU is very banged up, dealing with a lot of injuries. Derek Stingley still doesn't look like he's going to play after he missed their last 2 games, visited a specialist last week. Doesn't look like it's positive for him. They lost Andre Anthony to begin the week. Kayshon Boutte hasn't practiced. Major Burns has been missing practice. A lot of banged up players for LSU in a game against this very strong Kentucky team. A Kentucky team that's won up front with their offensive line, which does mitigate the strength of LSU's defense, which has been their pass rush this year. Not to mention Wan'Dale Robinson, been the most efficient receiver in the SEC. Just a lot to like for this Kentucky team. Then you look at LSU. They've struggled at almost every major contention point this year. They lose to UCLA to begin the year. They play McNeese State. They play Central Michigan. Those are throwaway games. Then they nearly lose to Mississippi State. They win that game by just a field goal. And of course, last week they dropped to Auburn, making Bo Nix look like a Heisman candidate. So it has not been positive for LSU to start the year. I'll be laying the 3 with Kentucky.
I'm with you, like Kentucky. Just to add to that, they lose to Auburn at home at night, and now they go to Kentucky. So I look at this team with Levis, with Robinson on the outside. I love the play calling. LSU just seems to not be firing on all cylinders. I will ride Kentucky until something changes. We've got some big games across the country. One of the teams that is still undefeated somehow, some way, is the Oklahoma Sooners. They have played awful down to their level of competition. They have not covered a game against a real opponent just yet. And again, last week they play Kansas State and they struggle. They end up winning the game by single digits. They don't get it done. I'm going to stick with them, though. I really believe it's there for this team. They are a 3.5-point favorite against by far their strongest opponent to date in the Texas Longhorns. The Red River rivalry is upon us. And I just look at this Oklahoma team, and it's been so frustrating. I know you'll expand upon this with some of the personnel changes, but at the same time, they still have an incredibly strong defensive front. They're holding teams under 3 yards per rushing attempt. And then I look on the other side. Texas, say what you want, they've made some improvements. They got slaughtered by Arkansas, and Arkansas is a pretty good team. But I still wonder exactly what they're going to do, particularly if Oklahoma can establish a really good rushing attack. Right now, Texas is sitting in the 90s in terms of rushing yards allowed per attempt, 4.7 yards per carry. I think that Oklahoma's got so much talent. They're getting healthier on defense. There is no excuse. They have not put it together this year, but at the same time, they are still undefeated. And I do think we see the best version of Oklahoma finally this week. So maybe it's just wishful thinking. I'm going to lay the 3.5 points, though, with the Sooners. I think Rattler, the running attack, and the defense will do enough against Texas.
Yeah, there just isn't really a great explanation for why Oklahoma has performed as poorly as they have. And again, they're 5-0. They've won the games, but all 4 of their games against FBS opponents have been single-digit victories. But they're a team that is tied for first in overall pass rush in the country. They're going up against a middling Texas offensive line. That's going to be an issue. They rank 3rd overall in pass blocking in their offensive line themselves. Very strong unit run blocking as well. And that's something they've avoided at times. They haven't used Eric Ray and Kennedy Brooks to the strengths. Instead, they've used Rattler and made some questionable player personnel decisions on the field. But I don't think you can deny the advantages Oklahoma has over Texas. It's just a matter of whether this team actually exploits them against the Longhorns, something they haven't done to start the year.
Well said. I know it's there, but you know what? If they don't do it here, they're going to straight lose the game. There's no doubt about it. They don't have the margin for error they do against Nebraska or West Virginia or Kansas State. So that's going to be a fascinating one. Last pick up here. we're going to the Big Ten with you. A lot of big games on the slate this week, and one of them certainly is Iowa and Penn State, undefeated teams clashing. Where do you lean in that matchup?
I lean towards the underdog in Penn State. And this is the biggest college football game I think we have, at least for playoff implications.
Yes.
In the Big Ten, it's a conference that's obviously live to put a team into the playoff. 2 undefeated teams here. Iowa's in the driver's seat to win the Big Ten West based on what they've done and what other teams like Wisconsin have shown on the field as well. But Penn State, the big concern is they're going on the road. I think they do hold advantages. They're a team that's been very good on defense to start the year. And the main issue with Iowa is when they play from behind, they do not have the team makeup to play that kind of game. Petrus, I know he performed well against Maryland, but historically and even in previous games this year has not been an efficient quarterback. Even in the game against Maryland, he showed struggle points at times, a guy that's not even completing 60% of his passes. That's going to be tough against a strong Penn State secondary. Conversely, Penn State is the team that can play in both game scripts from ahead, from behind. They're pass heavy. They're up tempo under Yurchich, who coordinated Texas last year, and they had the third highest play rate in the game. So, I mean, this Penn State team can move the ball. They have weapons at every level, fairly strong offensive line overall, which I think can mitigate the pressure of Iowa. That's the biggest question mark I have with Penn State is how they stack up against that Iowa front. But overall, the advantages are with the Nittany Lions. I think they can do it here.
Yeah, and you're getting a couple points on top of it. So I've been shorting Iowa all year to no success. We're going to see what Penn State can do against them. Should be an absolutely fascinating game. We've got Kentucky, we've got Oklahoma, and we've got Penn State on this slate. If you like these kind of videos and you want more like that, and subscribe to the channel on your way out. We really appreciate it, and we're growing this channel very fast, and it's very, very exciting. So there you go. For me, for Matt, good luck in the college football streets this week. We'll talk to you guys Saturday morning.